Hey folks, you've joined me in mid-conversation with Lev Parnas of Lev Remembers. Lev is was a former Trump fixer, paid the price for it, went to jail, came out, and has since said, maybe I should do good here. I know the people, I know MAGA. He still has insiders who give him really good, accurate scoops on this show. He says, watch the space in 1 week, and then certain things happen, like Ghislaine Maxwell, the quid pro quo, the transfer, and other folks, other things that have happened. So. A really good source, and the framing might seem alarmist to some, but I don't think it is. I call today's topic America's Reichstag fire, and the Reichstag fire, for those who remember, was the arson attack in 1933, which essentially was the catalyst that allowed the Nazis to come in power. Now, they said it was a young unemployed construction worker. However, some historians said that the fire was actually a false flag operation by the Nazis to blame communists and justify their crackdown on political opposition. Huh? Does it sound familiar? I would remind everyone in July, Stephen Miller, to justify the crackdown on Los Angeles and unleashing the National Guard and armed masked ICE agents. He said it was an insurrection. It was not. The LAPD, yes, the LAPD said, people were very peaceful and organized, and this was fine. Stephen Miller also in March, to justify the kidnapping and detention and deportation of innocent immigrants like Kilmar Abrego Garcia. What did he say? Invasion. And he said, because we're suffering an invasion, we're allowed to invoke the Alien Enemies Act that was invoked to intern Japanese Americans, right? So this is the language that Stephen Miller and the Trump administration has been using openly, folks. And Donald Trump in October said that he would unleash the National Guard and the military against the, quote, enemy from within. That was Hitler's quote. Well, folks, now you're seeing the National Guard being armed right here in DC, 2,000 armed National Guard members, with 6 former Southern Confederate states sending their National Guard members, even though FEMA is saying, hey, we might have a Katrina-like freaking disaster because FEMA's being gutted and the National Guard helps in national emergencies. These 6 southern states are like, we let our people die, Liv. Let's send them out to terrorize DC. And now they're saying, well, we got away with doing LA. We got away with doing DC. Let's go to Chicago. And then Donald Trump, folks, is attacking mail-in voting. He's openly asking Texans to gerrymander, which they did. Now he wants 100 seats. And then he just said yesterday, well, some people want a dictator. Not me. I'm just saying some people want a dictator. And he's selling 2028 hats. And when Zelensky was here, he goes, what? You could suspend elections during war? Oh, that might be a good thing. What more do you need to see? So I believe we are already in America's Reichstag fire, where they have created and manufactured a threat, have amplified it, and are using that as justification to what I believe will be martial law. That's my opening salvo. I give it to you, Lev.
I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself, Wad. I mean, we're on the same page when it comes to that. I agree with you. For everybody out there saying that, are we going to go through, is a Democrat? Yeah, is he going to take our democracy? Are we going through some kind? No, we're in it. We're living in it. We already have troops on the ground. We already have our constitutional rights being taken away with people taking off the street, just like Waj said. It's not things that are being said and floating where you could turn around and say, well, we still see. No, it's being taken, it's happening. And to add a little bit to what else, besides all the craziness, don't forget what he has done with ICE by privatizing it, basically making it his top ready to intimidate voters. And now, to make it even to go the step further, he has now allowed Pete Hegseth to start formulating special groups.
Lev, I think you're cracking up a little bit. I could see you, but your audio is cracking a bit, just a
Oh,
bit.
is that better?
Yeah, no, you were speaking, and then just some words were missing in and out. But continue.
Yeah, so I said not only that he has ICE as his personal Gestapo and
Yeah.
uses it to intimidate people, he's given them more money than God itself. But now he also had Pete Hegseth taking the National Guard, and they're getting special groups, special units. These are special units inside the National Guard that they're going to go out there to use too, because they're already telling you that we're going to have riots. People are going to be in the streets, so we need special units to come down these people. They're going to riot and stand up to it. So he's already preparing, because this is exactly what dictatorship. Am I still breaking up?
Now I got you. You just broke up for a second, but you were running fine until then. Yeah, you look fine. Just in the last second, you just kind of, as you're speaking, the audio dips in and out a little bit, but you're okay for the most part. I think, folks, it's clear that Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, completely unqualified, a man who literally has white Christian nationalist tattoos on his body, a man who wrote a book called American Crusade. Nobody has asked Pete Hegseth why. I don't know. Why did you last week publicly tweet out in support of the Church of Christ and the terrifying segment that was on CNN where these white Christian nationalists were openly talking about repealing the 19th Amendment? And Pete Hegseth is a congregant of that church, right? And no press has asked him, what did you mean by that? Do you support the use of violence in furtherance of the ideology? Do you believe that women should belong in the kitchen? Do you believe in the repealing of the 19th Amendment? So we have the white Christian nationalist angle from Pete Hegseth and Russell Vought, the co-author of Project 2025, who's one of the two shadow presidents. Then we have the outright white nationalist agenda of Stephen Miller. Then we have the eugenics, white supremacist broligarchy agenda of Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, who are the ones who made J.D. Vance the vice president to Donald Trump. Folks, it's happening in real time. And by the way, Elon Musk and J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel follow this guy called Curtis Yarvin openly, who says that democracy is incompatible with capitalism. These people do not care about our democracy. They want power by any means necessary. And, for the people who are joining us, we were talking about Donald Trump's health. And I said something, Lev. I posted this twice, versions of this on Blue Sky and Twitter, and seemed to have taken off, which was surprising. I said, and I want your take on this also because you have insiders. Donald Trump isn't healthy. And the insiders like Russell Vought, Stephen Miller, Peter Thiel, JD Vance know he's not healthy. And they are trying to ramp up what was supposed to be a 4-year plan towards authoritarianism in the next 3 to 6 months. And the reason why they're doing it is they realize this guy might either die or, if not die, become very sick. And so they want to make sure that their puppet, their groomed puppet, JD Vance, basically has all the power, knowing full well that JD Vance does not command MAGA, does not have the respect of MAGA. But if they can get all the power, then JD Vance can be their avatar. And I was expecting the usual people to say, you're crazy, this or that. But even MAGA folks are like, no, that sounds right. But I give it to you.
Yeah, no, you're betting 1,000 today, Waj. Let me tell you, I mean,
Unfortunately, I
I
have no
mean,
joy in this.
I say unfortunately, but you're bringing the truth exactly. I mean, one of the things I'm actually looking into, and I'm trying to get some more information, is about his health because watching him, watching the way some of that, the way he's reacting to the way he's talking, the way he's walking, even especially with those marks on his hands, and especially having them exactly come out when you see Caroline Levitt coming out there and giving you any kind of information. Just knowing the individuals, knowing the players involved, you have to multiply it or divide it depending if it's good or bad information they're giving you. So if they're saying that it's just some sort of no big deal of a thing, as we could see with our own eyes, we're seeing it's a lot bigger of a deal than and you don't have to know the guy, you don't have to be a doctor, you could see that the spots on his hands are not normal, him dragging his
Which
foot,
he's trying to hide, by the way. Have you noticed? He's been trying to cover it up.
makeup with his hand, absolutely, with a different cover up. So they're definitely, as far as JD Vance, that's 100%. That's why you see him being very quiet. That's why even the Elon. That's another reason why Elon is being quiet, took a step back, and they've all like laid off of him because right now Trump is in what's that? He's going from 0 to 120 in in under 3 seconds type of mode, and they're letting him go. So he either crashes into a wall or continues pushing their agenda, which is Project 2025.
And the person who wrote the forward to Project 2025, folks, is J.D. Vance. And the person who brought J.D. Vance to Donald Trump was Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and also David Sachs, the South African pro-pal oligarchy. I'm not making that up. And these are the people who have this techno-fascist agenda. Donald Trump's czar of AI is David Sachs, billionaire. Also, his buddy is Elon Musk. Remember Doge? Doge is still there, by the way, folks. And you were telling me that Elon Musk is, like you said, is hiding low, but still very active, still pissed off at Donald Trump. Have you gotten any more information on the Bongino-Musk relationship?
Actually, no. After we came live with that, I'll tell you right now, a lot of they're really on the attack, trying to shut down, trying to find who leakers are, who's leaking information, and who's giving it. So it's been a little tight. But I could tell you one thing: you could even see by Bongino's actions that it's still a hot moving topic because he's out there tweeting about everything except the Epstein file. He's out there talking about what the FBI does, their accomplishments, but he does not touch the Epstein stuff. And the new guy that they brought in, we haven't seen his role yet, come out. So there is
The Missouri Attorney General.
Andrew. I think Andrew, is it Andrew something? I'm sorry, I don't have his exact name, but the Missouri Attorney General. He's been, they put him in there as
Andrew Bailey.
Andrew Bailey, thank you. But we haven't seen him come out of though. We haven't seen him make a statement yet. Where is his statement going to be? So there's still a lot of things uncovering. But I'll tell you that the one thing that is happening behind the scenes, because of the certain things that they're putting into motion, is they're really, really cracking down on leakers. They're going after right now part of the revenge tour, the or whatever you want to call it, with the Bolton, what we saw last week. That was
Christie, Bolton.
well, Christie is interesting because Christie, he's not going after yet. Christie was a threat. Christie was a pure threat, that he just told him that if you keep going on TV and opening your mouth like Bolton, they will come look into you. I think he gave Christie still a chance out. So it's interesting to see what Christie does. Does Christie back off, or does Christie continue going on the attack? Because that will play out to see what that goes forward. I mean, and just think about what we're saying. These are all dictator, authoritarian ships. I mean, if somebody comes out there and speaks against the president, they got to worry about going to prison. People that are talking up are now hiding because they don't want to go to jail or go to prison. So this is pure authoritarianism, pure dictatorism. And now, just like you said, and I wrote it in my Substack, he's even talking about. See, when Donald Trump says something, this is a poker tell. Like, if anybody that plays poker and you say, how do you read a person? I'm going to give you something about Donald Trump. When he starts mentioning it, just like he talks about, Project 2020. I mean, when he's about 2028, that he's, the hats, he's going to sell. He doesn't just do it for the sake of doing it. He has a specific reason of doing it. And that's why now when you start seeing him, start pushing all this, stuff, this is him already projecting on it, him already telling you like, oh, people are saying they like dictators as long as I cure crime. So if I take away crime, you don't care if I'm a dictator. It's already pushing towards that, the same thing that he said the Democrats are, that communism. Because if you take a look at, dictators are also run communist countries, So the same thing he projects on others, he's the one actually trying to do and trying to put into motion.
Yeah, I think it's clear, folks. Look, he's gone after, it's like Festivus. So he has purged law enforcement. He has Kash Patel, who openly said on Steve Bannon's show before the election that he has a hit list of critics and former enemies. A completely unqualified person with no law enforcement background, who's the head of the FBI, which is so shameful because he's a reek. Pam Bondi, another attorney general who's a reek. Law enforcement, and much like ICE and now the National Guard, use as Donald Trump's Gestapo, like what dictators do, unleashed against his enemies. John Bolton, Chris Christie, Chris Krebs, who's guilty of saying, hey, the 2020 election was fair. Miles Taylor, yeah, he signed an executive order accusing him of treason. The Reichstag fire, invasion, insurrection. Like I've said folks, I've been saying for a while, it's going to be immigrants or Antifa or whatever. It's literally happening. Going after mail-in voting, now openly saying, oh, 5 seats, Texas, you did it, great. Now I want 100 seats. He says he wants 100 seats, and then showing off his 2028 merch to Zelensky and the European leaders who visited, and then openly talking about some people. The question I have is, like, does he think he's going to live? Like, are they? And he's very susceptible, right? So he laid out the red carpet for Putin. He gave him a blowjob, and Putin said, "Hey, you should attack mail-in voting." He goes, "You're right. Why do we have mail-in voting?" He goes, "Hey, 2020 election." He goes, "You're right. I won that election." Uh, does he think he's living forever? Does he realize he's being used? Does he not care? Because I can see people around him just being like, "You're the man. Do it. Do it. Now's the time." I'm very curious.
Oh, first of all, I mean, you're straight onto it. Look at you go. I mean, but that's like, if you had to take a picture, that's exactly how it is. It's like he gets everybody's like, oh man, you're the man. Like wow, and it's like every day, how much more extreme can you go? How much more can you push the limit? Because every day, the crazier you come out, the crazier you do something. Like after every press conference, just like we'll sit here and say, what the hell did we just witness? Was this
Yeah.
real? In their world, because remember, I come from their world, and in their world, what I remember the way it would be is right after he would do, everybody get, wow, what a you killed it. The public, I mean, you can, and he just, it's like outdoing, going crazier and going to more extreme. And but the most important part right now, Waj, I wanna, we have like a little bit over, I think, close to 1,000 people right now on here, and once we set it out there, a lot more people are going to see. But the important part right now is how the Democratic leadership respond to what he's about to do, because we are 100% already living in a dictatorship. We're already 100% living in authoritarianship. He's doing whatever he wants. He's stacked the courts. The Supreme Court's given him almost unlimited power. He controls the DOJ, the FBI, so he's in control right now. And now we're coming up to the most important part, which is the 2026 election, which is the only thing right now that we right now have that could be able to stop him in his tracks. And all of these things he's doing, but he's adding right now to the list of things and to the playbook, because they're very, see, just because they're evil, like Stephen Miller, Russell Vought, these are people are evil people, but they're very smart, very,
Yeah,
very,
they're not stupid.
not stupid. And now they also have Susie Wiles that joined the game, who is extremely, extremely smart and talented, has been around for a while. And now what they have done is, if you take a look at in the first election when I was around there, the main theory that he ran on, that we pushed, was the deep state. It was all
Yep.
about the deep state, the deep state, the deep state. Why?
What cashed you, Lev? When you were promoting it, did you know? I mean, did you know it was bullshit? Like, did you all know? Like, like
I
this is.
believed, I don't know who did, but I truly believed it. I mean, remember, I didn't come from politics to begin with. So for me to believe, I mean, and I
So
was
you were a
like,
true believer.
yeah, I would be on the, I mean, when they arrested me, I had Donald Trump's yarmulke, I had Donald Trump
Yeah,
straw.
you said crazy stuff. You're like, he's the Jew. What do you say? He's like the Jewish. He's the king, or like
The Messiah, I gave him, just so you
you
understand.
said that quote. Yeah, the Messiah, right?
Yeah, how big of a believer I was when we had dinner one time. So the head rabbi of Ukraine, gave me a letter to give to him, and in the letter they did the
Wait. I lost you. We'll get you back in a second.
spelled out that he's
Wait. You came back. You said in the letter.
you
Now
got me.
we got you back. You said the letter. We lost you at the letter.
Okay, and, and I'll find the letter, and for our next show, I'll give it. We'll post it for the subscribers. But in the letter the rabbi gave me, it said that his in numerical numbers, it came out that his name in Jewish spelled out like Messiah. And when we were having dinner, I gave him that letter, and he took that letter, and he used to carry that letter in his pocket, in his what's it called, and always show it to people and talk about like how, just like right now, he said he's the president of Europe. I mean, he thinks it.
Oh yeah, said that today.
You know what I'm saying to you? So it's like, so that was a thing that we had, but what he's doing, what they have come put together. So as I was saying, Watch, in the first, it was the deep state. Then in 2020 and 2024, because 2020 he lost, but 2024 it was immigration. It was immigration, immigration, immigration. What the reason he lost 2020 was because they chose the wrong thing. They chose Hunter Biden. See, in 2020, they were trying to push that Hunter Biden is corrupt, the Bidens are corrupt. And the same thing the Democrats are doing, because the Democrats respond to Trump is always that Trump is wrong, Trump is a dictator, he's corrupt. And people know that already. But what they don't understand is that most people, that want to see, like, when he starts talking about crime, statistics, and just like immigration, they did, the Democrats have to, like, if I was sitting in the room with some of these people, I would be telling them exactly what to do. Is they need to embrace some some of these things. They need to say, yeah, instead of trying to sit there and prove that crime is at its lowest and this is that, because you got to understand, we do have crime. We have crime all over the world, crime all over the country. Some places it's bigger, some places it's smaller. But what he's not coming with a solution. He's coming with a theatrical picture. And that's what the Democrats have to do. They have to have a unified message to uncover his theatrics and not be on the defense. They need to be on the offense. They need to be able to go out there and, not wait until he does something and then react to it, because that's all they're doing. For the past how many years, even today, that's why the Democrats need to start controlling the news cycle. If they see right now he's targeting crime, go figure out how you go be proactive on crime.
Be proactive.
Don't let him bring in people into your city. Like, I'll give you in Chicago. Chicago has a crime problem. We all know it. So don't sit there. I love Governor Pritzker. He's great. He's a good man. But he doesn't know Donald Trump. His messaging is all wrong. He's sitting there. Yeah, the message today, yeah, we could all say, rah, rah, rah. He gave it. He threatened Donald Trump. But at the end of the day, Donald Trump's going to go into Chicago. That
He is.
message, what he should be saying is, you know what? This is how we're going to, we don't need you. Yes, we're going to fix it. Give a solution. Don't let him give you the solution. Don't let him run the media cycle. Take it away from him. And if we do that,
I agree. What? Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no,
Continue.
go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead,
So,
Waj.
so, so this is where I feel like Democrats can learn because of the mistakes they've always made on immigration. They've always played reactive.
Yep.
They've always tried to be tougher on crime than Republicans by veering further and further to the right, but then thinking they'll win over the centrists and the Republicans, but the Republican voters still see them as weak. This is how you got the Lake and Riley Act, right? Instead of being very bold with their own solutions and then promoting that solution and saying why that solution is better on immigration or why that solution is better on war, why that solution is better on crime, right? Unfortunately, right now, what Lev is saying is correct, is that the only thing, folks, the only thing that Donald Trump is positive on by 1 point is crime. This +1. However, I believe in 2 weeks, I'm going to say 1 month. Let's say 1 month. My prediction, 1 month, the overreach that he's done, much like the overreach he's done on immigration, he's going to be underwater on crime. Because right now in Washington, D.C., 80% of D.C. is like, F you, man. Let our law enforcement figure this out, right? When he sends it to Chicago, the same thing's going to happen. However, I think you don't want to even I agree with you. You don't even want to flirt with that possibility of the polls will be on our side. I think what you should do is
Fix the polls, Waj.
yeah,
Yeah, it's manipulation. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what he's doing, what he's doing, they're preparing sound bites. Because remember, the people that are watching us right now, the people that are on these Substacks, these people know what's going on. They're our messengers. They're out there spreading it. But majority of the country watches news clips. They're out there working. They're out there trying to feed their family. They're not even thinking about 90 until when it's election time. We know how it is. A month, 2 months before the elections, they start tuning in and they start watching it. This is what they're preparing for. They're preparing for the news clips that they're going to show you. I'll give you an example of, all of a sudden they're going to say, look at the crime in Washington, D.C., to the fact how they stage it, that they even at today's news conference, they had a reporter from one of the come out and tell a personal story how she got mugged in Washington, D.C., and how grateful she is to Donald Trump for her doing it. These are all part of the show that they're going to use later on as part of the clips, the media campaign, to start pushing to show how, theatrics, how you see how there was crime there. And then right now, they're going to show the guard. They're going to show people, because it's all staged. They're not going into where there's actual crime. They're
no.
going, and they're not talking about, of course, if I put right now on any worst street in the America, if I go put police on every corner, the crime's going to stop. But are you going to keep the police there? Is that your solution? So is your solution to bring in the National Guard and to keep it there forever? No, that's what they need to attack him on. They need to attack him on solutions and results and have their own, and not just say that he's the bad guy. Everybody
I
knows.
think that's why I liked Wes Moore when Wes Moore, governor of Maryland, came on 2 days ago on the Sunday news program. He broke it down. He first and leaned in with his armed forces background. Then I believe he gave 4 reasons why this solution is a terrible solution, meaning the solution of National Guard. First, he talked about the cost. He goes $1 million a day. Then he talked about it's not scalable, it can't work. Then he talked about the fact that, like, it's unconstitutional and illegal. Basically, what he broke down in four, and I don't have it in the top of my head, but I think I got three of the four, was it is a reckless, costly, unconstitutional solution to the problem, and Donald Trump is making everything worse. What I will say to you, and I look, folks, this is the reality. America is a self-destructive country. America is the United States of amnesia. America has both kindness and cruelty. America is right wing when it comes to, unfortunately, crime. Right, this is a country that celebrates the vigilante, the Charles Bronson, Death Wish. This is a country that has more guns than people. So what you need is a bold counter message that actually talks about why Donald Trump's solution is reckless and failure, costly, and will make America less safe. And then be bold, for the love of God, and come up with a proactive solution when it comes to immigration, Israel, Palestine, war, right? But the problem is Democrats are so timid. They're so scared. They're so centrist. They workshop everything. They don't stand for anything, right? So just be bold. Whatever your solution is, be bold about it. Fight, show the fighting spirit, but also come up with a solution. Like, okay, what do you want to do for immigration? I was talking to this man who's running for Illinois' 13th district, a really good interview, which I'll have on later today. He's a National Guard member, Lev. Captain Dylan Baja, I had him on earlier today, progressive, literally did a video telling National Guard members, I'm a National Guard member, it's your duty to not obey illegal orders. And he said, when it comes to immigration, people care about it. We have to find a way which is more humane, be pro humanity, talk about pathway to citizenship. And then also we talked about, he's in Illinois. So he's like, yeah, Chicago, people care about the crime. So we have to have a way to proactively give a message, which is a progressive message, and also be pro humanity. So I think it's a moment for Democrats, but I still don't see them. Look, Lev, we see Gavin Newsom. I give credit where credit's due. Gavin Newsom tried, folks. Gavin Newsom is a great example of what Lev and I were talking about. Gavin Newsom saw Donald Trump win. She's like, maybe I should be more like Republicans. Okay. He brings on Charlie Kirk. He brings on Steve Bannon to his podcast. Remember that, Lev? And then what?
Yeah, we'll go ahead.
And
Yeah.
then what happens? He concedes to their talking points. Now, this is what happens. MAGA says, oh, he conceded to our talking points. Look at that cuck. Look at that weakling. It didn't win him over any MAGA people because they see him as a pedophile. They see him as like a liberal, lefty, deep state, whatever. Levin knows this. And then he lost the Democratic base. Then he said, okay, that didn't work. He's still attacking California. Me bending the knee didn't work for this bully. Let me fight back. Let me troll him. Let me mock him. Let me ridicule him. Let me say, okay, you're going to gerrymander? Fine. We'll do it also. Gavin Newsom has seen his popularity go up. The reason why I don't think Gavin Newsom will work out in 2028, my opinion, Lev, is he still doesn't stand for anything. I want someone who's willing to be bold and stand for something.
Thank you.
So you go ahead. That's my rant.
Watch 100%, and let's. Devin Newsom is a good. You did a great example. I mean, like right now, he's got a good role going. He's got his publicity. But let's think of one thing. What the Democrats refuse to do and refuse to accept is to understand. You have to understand your opponent. You have to understand when they go research, Apple research and all that. I'm saying to you, the one thing they should be doing right now, they should be putting together and calling people like me, people like Michael Cohen, people like Olivia Troy, people like that work for his man, putting together groups, asking questions. How do they act? How start learning, start understanding how your opponent. They're still playing the old playbook. The fact that Newsom is out there, yes, I give him credit that he's, trolling him, doing it, but that's not going to win him anything. That's going to win him maybe some popularity, maybe some more ticks and clicks and everything. But it's not the actual. What they should be doing is planning. They should be going out being, and again, this is what I'm saying to you. The key is being on the offense. Take away the news cycle. Start getting into the brain, how they think, not how just Donald Trump thinks. You have so many characters in there. There's so many ways. See, they're only attacking Donald Trump constantly. See, they're only going after him. People are already like, used to, the response. But there's so many other characters and
Stephen Miller,
Stephen
Russell Vaught,
Russell Vaught,
Patel,
people that we
Hexet.
talk, people that we talk about every single day, that they could be, putting together. They have so much money. The Democrats, they raise so much money, that they could be putting together the teams of Apple. If I swear, I feel frustrated because I remember I was part of the what Mega became, and it was so easy for them to do all these things, and I would love to give them, and that's why I write my Substack. That's why I sit here and I write every day and go. I try to scream watch it because it's like there's a few people, and I'm not the only one. There's a few people right now that really know Donald Trump. That really know these inner circles, how they work. They understand how they think, understand how they move, and have sources still that are able to get. Why not put together that group of people? Why not put together a think tank? Start thinking of how to be proactive. What do you think their next move is going to be? Just like a business, like anything else. Instead, they're out there. If we took a look at who all their consultants are, analysts are, I guarantee you, was none of these people have ever probably been in the same room with Donald Trump or any of these people, and they're sitting there talking about how they could do it, and that's why you see constant. That's why we don't see a unified message. That's why you don't see one person taking it by the reins, because none of them, they're all over the place.
They're not built for this uh, fight. They're not made for this moment. And you saw them waste millions of dollars in luxury. I'm not making this up, folks. Look at the New York Times that are reporting on this, that they spend millions of dollars in luxury hotels, figuring out how to win back men and find the liberal Joe Rogan. It's very incestuous. I've said this earlier today. I was talking to Captain Dylan Blaha and others. And, I believe if it's up to them changing the playbook or burning down the Democratic Party, they're going to burn down the Democratic Party. They still haven't. I don't care what you think about Zoran Mamdani. He's going to become the next mayor of New York. He has a winning, affordability message. Just embrace him. It's just smart politics. They're still attacking him. They still haven't endorsed him. When it comes to these young leaders, they're still attacking AOC and Jasmine Crockett, the fighters, right? They're still attacking this veteran who came on television yesterday. I'm forgetting his name, who's running, who said we need new leadership. Now the Democratic establishment is attacking him, Lev, right? Like literally their base is telling you what they want and like, shut up. Shut up. We don't care. And so the base wants fighters. The base wants to go against the Elon Musks and the oligarchy and the billionaires. The base doesn't want wars. The base wants an anti-war candidate. The base wants to stop funding Netanyahu. The base wants to fight fire with fire. The base says, okay, be creative, expand the court, just say it. Fine, free buses, just say it. Just fight. And they're not unwilling to fight, Lev. And I think the reason why they're unwilling to fight is ideology and also the money. I don't think they can let go of that corporate money. So I think Schumer and Jeffries, folks, if you think I'm wrong, I just say believe the evidence of your eyes and ears. Hakeem Jeffries on the weekend was asked about Pritzker and his fight. He just nothing. It was mealy mushed nothing. They're playing from behind. And then you finally had the head of DNC, Ken Martin, a couple of weeks, 2 weeks ago, said, we're going to fight fire with fire. Great. I gave him props. But you're too behind, folks. Republicans have the House, they have the Senate, they have the Supreme Court, they have the media, and literally they're marching towards fascism. And we're sitting here debating whether or not, we should call him a fascist. It's very painful, Lev. It's very painful. I feel like, with the Democrats, we need, the reason to support the Democrats, I always say, despite my criticism, is it's the only opposition party that we have. I criticize them to sharpen the tool. And they seem to be listening, but it's a little bit. It's like, well, let me put this, Lev. What do you think? What drastic action? And these are all drastic actions, folks. Whatever Trump has done, none of it is normal. I don't want you to normalize any of it. But what will it take for these Democrats to finally say, you know what? Maybe we need to get rid of the 1990s playbook and meet them in 2025 with this new playbook. What will it take Trump to do?
I don't know, Waj. That's my problem. I mean, I'm literally that's the question I'm asking. If I tell you, I don't want to blow anybody up, but if I tell you how many people have been reaching out to a lot of these powerful Democrats, and you know what, I swear to you, another couple of days, another week, I'm gonna blow all of them up. I'm gonna put up every single email that they put up, and they're telling me that they don't have time to speak to me for 15 minutes. They don't have time. Just think about this, Waj. I'm willing to put my freedom, my life, get myself involved in this bullshit to try to save our democracy, to give them maybe some information, but they don't have time because they're too busy doing podcasts. They're too busy doing, Twitters and TikTok. They have all the time in the world to go out there, but they don't have the time to sit down and talk and maybe get some real information to be able to learn how to move forward. And it's not just one person; it's several. And I'm gonna and I'm just hoping that and I'm because I don't want to this bullshit out there. I want to try to save our democracy, but I'm getting to a point where I'm getting pissed off because it's starting to look like nobody gives a shit. Everybody cares about themselves and not really trying to save our democracy because nobody is really. They're following the same old playbook. Let's attack Trump. Let's call Trump a dictator. Hey, Kamala Harris did that. How did it work out? Everybody, he's a convicted felon, folks. 34, he's convicted. We have a convicted felon that you elected as the president of the United States. Not you, but the country did. You know why? Because most of the country doesn't listen to what you're hearing here. They don't have spend the time to go out. Most of the country, and this is where the difference between them and us, because they know this and they play that, and that's why I'm trying to tell everybody, and I try to tell all the Democratic leadership, stop the bullshit. Stop going. You're again doing the same thing. We have less than a year to go. If we don't stop this and figure it out, he will watch. He won't need to do Insurrection Act. If we keep up doing this, he'll win this. He'll win this because he'll lie to the public again. He'll lie to the people. He'll give them what they want to hear. He'll pretend that we're under attack in our country. People will be scared to walk out of their streets, and he'll come in like that savior, just like he did with immigration. It was all a lie. It was all theatrics. But now think about him doing it locally in the cities where there is crime, where he actually could play this out and make these things happen.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is you don't want to take the risk because you assume Americans will do the right thing and we're very self-destructive. And you saw even the immigration issue, it's now completely underwater for him because he overplayed his hand. And a lot of the people who voted for him were like, oh shit. But now we're in the oh shit moment, right, folks? You have to look at the moment where they actually go to the ballot box and human beings, reptile brains, they get scared. Republicans are very good playing with fear and grievance. And so this is why I'll give an example. The reason why, regardless of what you think about him, I like him, but the reason why even Trump voters have gone for Mamdani, he stands for something. He stands for something. He gives you solutions. He says affordability, affordability, affordability. People are like, yeah, affordability. Okay, I like that. The reason why, Lev, I think Dems are unable to evolve is they will have to take on the oligarchy. They will have to take on their corporate donors. They will have to take on APAC. They will have to be bold about their solutions to crime and immigration. They're too scared. They're too scared to come out. So they'll just do a Republican light, and they think that'll work. It won't. It'll alienate their base, and plus Republicans will laugh at them because Republicans will out-Republican Democrats on crime and immigration. So you need a smarter, better strategy. And I do think the two weaknesses of Donald Trump, I've said this before, and I think this is how you can attack him, and you should attack him: the economy and Epstein. I think those two E's, you should lead with that and then bring on everything else because America loves money. And you can bullshit people about crime. You can bullshit people about immigrants. You can bullshit people about conspiracies. You can bullshit people about what's in their wallet. I don't care if you're MAGA. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're independent. You just can't. You can't tell everyone because look, Biden was right that the American economy was much better than American other economies. That America did rebound much better than most other countries suffering from a devastating pandemic. But people didn't feel it, Lev, right? So I feel like the economy it's going down, folks. It's going down. I'm sorry. It's just the writing's on the wall. And then Epstein. He cannot escape Epstein and the economy. And so September 3rd, you have Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey bringing 10 survivors, Epstein survivors, to the Capitol. What more do you want to see Democrats do on those two issues?
Well, I'll tell you, and those are great, and I agree with you 100% that those issues are going to be, but it doesn't matter which issue you talk, because all these issues, from National Guard in the streets to the Epstein files to the economy and all of this, the only way, and I'm going to give you the biggest secret out there, but it's right in front of their eyes, and this is where the Democrats have to start doing. This is what Donald Trump does. What we did, what we used to do, and what they do every day till this day. Before they go to sleep, they already think of what the headlines for tomorrow are going to be. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So it's not about there's plenty. Donald Trump has given them plenty of ammunition. The problem is when you wake up in the morning, you don't put on CNN, or you don't go on to see that, oh my God, Gavin Newsom has just saved, the water crisis, or Pritzker, now crime is down and over there, or Hochul cured something, and I'm just saying to you, you don't see any of this. All you do is we're already programmed. We wake up, we hear that Donald Trump is going to do something, and then the Democrats react to it. It's the same story. Take away the news cycle. You want to hurt Donald Trump? You want to really screw up everything that they got going on? And this is why I'm saying to you, and I know how to take that news cycle away from him, because I was part of giving that news cycle to him.
Yeah.
Take away the news cycle. Be aggressive. Be ahead of the game. And this is not just to Gavin Newsom or Pritzker or anyone. This is to everybody out there, and whoever is right now thinking about stepping into the ring and going forward. Because the second you take away that news cycle, you won.
I,
So
I, I agree. I feel because he's a creature. Look, I'll give Donald Trump credit where credit's due, in the sense that he's a creature of media, and like a carnival barker, he knows how to get attention. And in the 80s and 90s, people used to laugh at him, but he was good TV. That's what they say. He's good TV.
Yep.
He's entertaining. And Democrats need to keep the focus on Epstein. What they're always reacting. And I know why they're reacting is because Donald Trump, very deliberately, is provoking, provoking, provoking. It's distraction, and it's not distraction, or it's distraction and part of the march towards fascism, right? People like, it's distraction. Yes, it's distraction and part and parcel of his plan. So you need to get ahead of it. You need to be bold, and you need to be on. I like what Gavin Newsom's doing. I like what Westmore is doing. I like what Pritzker's doing. But you need to be like nonstop on offense. They're just not, Lev. They're not built for this. They're not built for this.
I agree with you, and that's the scary part, because I really truly, I'm sitting here with you, and I also like that Newsom has some of that chutzpah to go out there and try to go out there and go against him, but then all that, like you said, all that other negative stuff, and then Pritzker. I mean, I don't see a person, and that's my biggest fear. We, with all the negative that Donald Trump is doing, and with all the stuff that we're reporting and breaking and giving, I don't see who's taking that in to be able to help us win this battle. Like that's the problem. Yes, I see. When I write my stories and when I talk about it, when I speak to people, I say you can't be all doom and gloom. There's no hope. I said, well, you know what? I see a lot of hope. I see I see a resolution. I see how we could win. The problem is what I'm being frustrated is I don't know how to get through to the right people. I don't know. Maybe I'm knocking on the wrong doors. Maybe it's me. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they just don't want to talk to me. I don't know what the situation is, but it's like the frustrating part was is having, knowing that you could help, knowing that you're watching TV and you're like, well, wait a second, it's like, that's not true. I know, you know what I'm saying to you, and you could help, and instead you have them going to totally different directions, watching them, screw it up, and that's the biggest frustration I'm having, Waj, right now, because I truly believe that we have a tremendous opportunity to not only win 2026, but start, literally right now flipping, some of these Congress, like you said, Massey is holding a joint conference, with Ro Khanna on the Epstein stuff. I mean, Massey is not Trump's buddy. He's already supporting, there should be somebody talking to him. Nobody's talking to him. Nobody's out there in the Democratic Party and trying to figure out how to sway him on, and get another 4 or 5 people. Because think about it. What are we trying to do? To take over the House? all you need is 4 or 5 of the of the it's such a tight knit to be able to start already doing certain stuff and stopping them from what they're doing. So there,
It's a slow moving fossil. It's a slow moving fossil. I just pray that someone could step up because we're running out of time, folks. Trump is marching towards authoritarianism. Lev knows Trump. He knows the circle. He's agreed with me when I've used these words. I don't know what else you need to see, folks. It's right there. Just look at the last 2 weeks. Listen to him. Trump's telling you. He's showing you. Stephen Miller's showing you. And I believe he's a sick man, and I believe the people around him know he's sick, so they're trying to consolidate as much power as possible, accelerating Project 2025 in the next 6 months over, trying to accomplish in 1 year what they want to do in 4 years. And we need all of us to fight back. Well, let me ask you this final question, Lev. Suppose Donald Trump becomes incapacitated or too old or too sick. And suppose, JD Vance kind of becomes the shadow president. Does MAGA respect JD Vance?
No, no, MAGA doesn't spread. But see, that's why right now, that's why they're walking away from MAGA. See, they needed MAGA to get in there. Now they're in there, they're destroying our institutions from inside out. They're trying to, if they have it their way, they're not going to have to worry about the MAGA vote because they won't worry about elections to begin with. It'll be, you know what I'm saying to you. So that's why Trump is not as concerned about MAGA and with the Epstein stuff. That's why Vance was never a MAGA guy. They never liked even till this day. Like if you go to these right wing what's it called talk shows or Twitter Spaces, most of them don't like Vance and make fun of Vance themselves. But Vance, if he comes in a situation not through the elections, but that's what they're trying to do and that's why he said that Trump want to stay in office forever. He wants to control who comes into office after him. You know what I'm saying? He wants to control the legacy and the history that will be written about him when he's gone, and that's why he's rewriting the history. And the one thing I want to say, I think you made a huge, really good point, Waj. I want to also just emphasize on that is and about New York and Mandawi. We have two people right now. I bet you me and you disagree with a lot of things he's saying and disagree with the policies. But the one thing that I agree 100% and why that he is important and Democrats should take an example of what he's doing is he has a message. He's out there taking away his news cycle. He's out there putting a message out there. He's doing something that no other Democrats are doing. You don't see any other Democrats waking up. I don't wake up and I don't see anybody else waking up and say, even if I disagree with him, which I do about his policies in New York, we're not going to go into it, but at least you're hearing him. He's controversial enough that he's in the cycle. He's joining the Trump plateau where he's becoming in the fight. He's becoming relevant because he has a message because there's nobody else out there so far, good or bad. And that's what I'm saying to you, that's come out with a message. Every single other person, including Newsom, including what's it called, Pritzker, they're all reacting. They're all reacting to what Trump does, and they're not coming out with their message. None of them are coming out in the morning and saying, you know what, Donald Trump, you're doing this. You know what? Today we're going to do this and this and this. I'm just saying to you. Then no, you don't hear it. So that's why, yes, because he has a message. So that's, I think, the most important thing we should take out of that is that we need a unified message and we need somebody to be a leader of that voice and that message. And that person needs to listen not only to all of these supposed consultants, but take off the gloves and go and start listening to people that really know Donald Trump, that really know Pam Bondi, that spent time with Kash Patel, that had drinks with Pete Hegseth, that sat and had cigars with these guys and drink, and that knows them on not only on what they did while they were on TV, but also what they spoke about behind the scenes in those like I call it, the shadow diplomacy rooms. They need to get that information to be able to move forward and do it. And if there are people that are willing to do it, because you know what, watch, one day, not everybody's going to be willing to be, because if they keep going after, and if their, revenge tour keeps going and people start getting indicted, people start going to prison, I'm telling you, less and less people are going to start coming out and being these
Absolutely.
leaders fucking, and less people are going to want to be. So while the opportunity is there, somebody needs to take it, because that opportunity is not going to be there for forever.
I agree with you, and I think, look, you can learn from Zoran Mamdani. What do you stand up for? What are your principles? Stay consistent, be principled, be authentic. And I'm telling you, folks, there are some Trump voters who say, you know what, I might not agree with everything with Mamdani. He's bold, something different. So you got people who voted for Trump who are now supporting Mamdani. You got people who voted for Trump are supporting AOC, voted for AOC. Why? Be consistent, be sincere, stand up for something, run on affordability, address people's needs, give them new solutions, right? And be a fighter, be bold. This is very attractive to people right now, right? And I know people hate hearing this. Trump ran on a bullshit anti-establishment message. It's all bullshit because he's part of the establishment, but it worked. I'm the wrecking ball. I'm the outsider. I'm gonna come in and remember all that bullshit, Lev. It's
Yeah.
all bullshit, but it worked, right? And that's why you saw a lot of people like Bernie also voted for Trump, because like outsiders, something different, something new. The institutions are corrupt. They need to be reformed. So it's right there for the taking. And again, my fear is not my fear, my prediction, my fear, my analysis is the current Democratic leadership is incapable and unwilling to evolve and adapt. They're still holding on to that nut of the corporate money, corporate donors ideology. They refuse to change, and instead they will burn down the Democratic Party and these young leaders that are emerging, instead of evolving or changing on Israel, on Palestine, on the rich, on the oligarchy. And they're not made for this moment. They're not built for this fight, which is why we need to support the young fighters to come and remove them. You need a complete culling of the Democratic Party so the Democratic Party resembles the fighting party that the majority wants, that has to take on this fascist movement, folks, because Donald Trump is playing for all the marbles. And even if he dies, the people around him, the real power, have their boy, JD Vance. It's the Reichstag fire moment. It's Stephen Miller openly telling you invasion, 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 insurrection. He's literally saying it, folks. They're going for all the marbles. Lev, thank you for joining me as always. Shamelessly promote yourself.
Thanks for having me, Wash. Everybody out there, we just want to get the message out. And to get the message out, we need to build a community. And to build a community, we need your help. We need you to be that extension of our voices, be a megaphone. Go out there. First of all, this message, we're going to put this out in the next 30, 40 minutes, within an hour. Send this message video to everybody that you can. Spread the message far and wide. That's the most important thing. Subscribe. And for those of you that can, become paid subscribers, because we don't have corporate machines. We don't have the billionaires. We have you. And together, that's all that we need to speak truth to power and to deliver the like independent journalists like Waj has. And like, remember, that's what democracy is all about. We don't have to agree about everything. We don't have to agree and decide everything. But the one thing we all agree on is humanity, right from wrong. And the only way we're going to do it is right now is I agree with you, we need somebody new, somebody fresh, somebody to come out there. And if that person out there, whoever that person is willing to put up a fight and go after, try to save our democracy and get up there, I'm with you. Call me up, reach out to me, and I will be by your side to try to save our democracy and giving you more information than you could even imagine to know what to do with it.
Thank you all for listening. This has been the Left Hook, and Lev remembers there's no paywalls for me. Subscribe if you can. If you have a few dollars, become paid subscribers. Like I said, there's no corporate donors. We don't bend the knee to anyone. And I'll be back actually later on tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. 8:30 p.m. Eastern time with the mighty Joyce Vance.
Oh,
She's had some time for me. Yeah, so Joyce and I are finally going to cook together, and we're going to talk about Donald Trump is trying to fire Lisa Cook. Donald Trump trying to purge the law enforcement and judiciary, and what, if anything, we and public servants can do to push back. So that'll be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time tonight. Folks, be kind, be empathetic, stay informed. And we have to fight for our democracy. It's going to be, you have to, attack fascism. It's going to be death by a thousand cuts. It's going to be a long walk, but we all got to do it together. You got to just build. You're not going to win over everyone. It's okay. You don't need everyone. You need 70%. If we just get the 70%, to try to reform this country for the better, we can do it. We have the numbers. Be kind, and please, oh, please, don't be a fascist. Take care.
take care, guys.